I didn't shout. I didn't pound the counter. I just fixed my eyes on her across the kitchen island, palms flat on the cool granite, and said, I do understand. That was the instant she believed she'd won. That was the instant she lost. 11 years of marriage, 2 children, 1 home, memories piled like fading photos in old boxes. She had been my anchor, or so I thought. I adored her storms. I excused her silences. My life revolved around her pull. But love blinds you. It teaches you to ignore the midnight texts, the smile that lingers after a business dinner, the sudden secrecy of a phone clutched too tightly. I ignored it all until she stopped caring enough to hide. She told me offhandedly, like she was reading a grocery list. I invited Michael. He's bringing his family. If you love me, you'd understand. Michael, the name hit like a blow. Her old flame. The ghost she once swore was meaningless. The shadow hovering over our marriage, I refused to acknowledge. My chest burned, but my face stayed composed. I do understand, I said. She smiled, mistaking surrender for loyalty. Inside, something in me hardened to stone. That night, when the house was quiet, I opened my laptop. My fingers were steady. I searched Michael's name, found his wife's social media. Pictures of their kids, dinners, vacations, her unsuspecting smiles. Her email was public. I wrote one line. He's coming on vacation with us. You should come as my +1. I'll explain when we meet. Send. No turning back. Days slid into weeks. Outwardly, I played the devoted husband. Booked the resort. Smiled at my kids. Kissed her cheek at night. In silence, I prepared. I gathered proof. Old texts, bank records, late-night hotel bills, screenshots, dates, times, enough to turn doubt into certainty. I wrote Michael's wife again, this time with evidence. I wasn't cruel in the wording. I let the truth slice on its own. Her reply came back cold. I'll be there. And so the board was set. The vacation house was all glass and timber, perched above a blue cliffside. She entered first, glowing, luggage in hand, wearing the smug confidence of someone who thought herself untouchable. Minutes later, Michael arrived with his family. I greeted him with a handshake that lingered just long enough. My wife beamed at him, pretending the kids didn't notice, pretending I didn't. Then came the knock. I opened the door. There she was, Michael's wife, sharp suit, polite smile, eyes like blades. My +1, I said. The silence that followed felt biblical. Dinner that night was a stage play of control. Plates clinked. Children laughed. Under the table, tension coiled like a snake. My wife's eyes flickered. Michael's face drained pale. His wife sliced her steak with surgical precision, never losing her smile. I waited. I wanted their own nerves to crush them before I moved. On the third night, I chose my moment. We sat on the deck, wine glasses in hand, the ocean breathing below. I stood, phone in hand. I've been meaning to share some photos, I said. I connected my phone to the TV. The screen lit up. First, a hotel receipt. Then, a string of texts. Finally, a photo of their hands intertwined, grainy but unmistakable. My wife gasped. Michael muttered a curse. His wife leaned back, sipping wine like she'd been waiting years for this curtain to rise. My wife spoke first, her voice cracking. You, how could you dig through my... I cut her off, cool and sharp. How could you bring him here? Into our vacation? Into our children's lives? And expect me to smile? Michael's wife turned to him. How long? She asked. He stammered. She didn't wait. She stood, poured her wine onto the deck, and said, We're done. The kids had been sent inside earlier. They wouldn't see their mother break. But I did. I watched every fracture in her armor. The trip ended not with laughter, but with departures. Michael's wife left with her dignity intact. Michael left in silence, shoulders bent with shame. And my wife stayed behind, weeping into her hands, pleading for forgiveness that had long expired. I packed slowly, not in anger, but in precision. The precision of someone who knows the game is finished, and the win is already his. Back home, I filed for divorce. Clean, efficient, backed by the evidence I'd collected. Custody swung my way, assets divided on my terms. She never saw it coming. She thought betrayal gave her power. She thought shamelessness made me weak. But weakness was only the mask I wore while sharpening the blade. People still whisper about that vacation. Neighbors speculate. Friends debate. Some call it cruel, others call it brilliant. I call it justice. Because when she looked at me and said, "If you love me, you'd understand," she thought she was testing my devotion. She never realized she was signing her own confession. And me? I did understand. I understood everything.